Okay, so I'm going to make this so plain, so plain. It's going to be so plain that it's not even coming from my own words. So for those of you who would like to know exactly what is it, but what is Moorish American national citizenship? Right? We want to know, what did the leader of this group of these people say? How did he express citizenship and how Moorish Americans should apply their apply citizenship? All right. I think that in all fairness, right, before we judge, right, we should definitely get uh, we should allow the leader of this group who's teaching this stuff, right? We should give them, that individual, the opportunity, right, to make their statement, right? So who is the leader of these Moorish Americans, man? That question? There it is. Well, the word principal means chief or leader. Okay, and so the principal, Noble Drew Ali, he was also known as the prophet, the professor, right? The the presiding officer, right? So he is the authorized representative for this whole Moorish whatever it is, right? So Noble Drew Ali, this guy named Noble Drew Ali, he had a newspaper. As part of his organization, he had a newspaper in order to circulate information regarding the movement, um, its aims, its goals, etc. Right, but he also had the press in order to inform and instruct those who were participating in what he calls the great missionary program of uplifting all of humanity to the state of equal status. Okay. This information is provided in this compilation right here called the Moorish Americans Economic Security Manual, which is all of the works to date of this guy, Noble Drew Ali, who came to, he says that he was sent to redeem man from his sinful ways. But anywho, that will be another topic of discussion, right? Speaking specifically about this brother, but we're going to go over what is it that he says about citizenship. It's important that we take his perspective into consideration, right? Maybe we'll come to find that there are people who falsely represent his movement, and through this false representation, true members of his movement are succumbing to injustices based upon this foreign doctrine, possibly, potentially, that may has been introduced, right, into this man's movement. So there's a newspaper article in his Moorish Guide newspaper. Whose movement? Noble Drew Ali, the dude they call Noble Drew Ali, right? Came and told so-called black people that they weren't Africans, they weren't black Americans, they were basically white Americans, and that they were equal with all other Americans. They weren't, slaves, right? He told them that they weren't slaves and that, they should be able to be free and equal citizens of everybody else who's in the States, right? That guy. Right. So, in his newspaper article titled A Divine Warning by the Prophet for the Nations, right, he's speaking about specifically citizenship in the United States of America, how it applies universally, and how the actions of some dictate or imply their status. Okay, so I'm going to read to you what it is that this guy, Noble Drew Ali, the Moorish Divine, the National Movement, his baby, his love thought. This was his gift to humanity, right? We're going to see what it is that his movement teaches, specifically about citizenship. Okay. It says, the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people. Excuse me, where was that? And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and principles that delude to slavery. Slavery is debtorship. Okay. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. Let's just stop there for a minute. Drew Ali is talking about the Moorish Americans are learning to be citizens. They have to be citizens. They have to be a part of the state in order for them to receive their divine rights, in order for them to be recognized, so that they have the securities of the government. And then he makes mention of voting. It is the duty. It is a right and a duty for a citizen to vote. And he makes mention that these Moorish Americans who are learning to be citizens would have the right to cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of their state's government. So he's saying that citizens of the states vote on the state level. Okay? And then he makes mention of this granted privilege. What is this granted privilege? If we know our history, this granted voting privilege that he's making reference to is the 15th Amendment. Right? What does he say? He says, and through it, they and their children can receive the divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege as has been the existing condition for many generations. So, what class of citizens, right, vote under the 15th Amendment? 14th Amendment stateless citizens vote under the 15th Amendment because the 15th Amendment provided for these stateless citizens to be able to have a perception of being heard. Have you read it all? Start it over again. So the 14th Amendment citizen, that's the citizenship of Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. That is also the citizenship of this person, of this artificial person, right? That's stating that it is not a living person. It's not a person of the state. So for all of us who are aware of how federal elections work, the federal elections are counted up through ballot, but there's an electoral college. All right. And so those who are voting according to this 15th Amendment as a 14th Amendment citizen, they have the appearance of voting, but they themselves hold no weight in the states. Okay, so Jurali is making reference that citizens of the states vote on the state level. That's Article 4, Section 4, citizenship. Okay. Slaves, descendants of slaves, we'll put it that way. Debitors, sinners are stateless citizens. They're not in full life. Okay. Let's continue. He says, You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light of being a citizen of the state. Where did he tell him? Where did he tell the people to go? Hey, if what I'm teaching is bullshit, go to those who know law and let them call it bullshit. But they're not going to call it bullshit. They're going to tell you that's exactly how this shit works. Okay. He says money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. So everything that the man is, it's represented in the nation. This is why you must be a state citizen in order to be representing the state in its private official capacity. And again, he says, whatever makes the man makes the nation. So that means that the man and the land are one. That means that the group of people in the state of mind, like mine's being Pennsylvania, they're all one and the same. They're indivisible. Okay? So again, this is Jurali. He's alluding to state citizenship. He's telling Moorish Americans about state citizenship. He's not telling them anything about sovereign citizenship or sovereign citizen. He's not telling them to avoid the government. He's actually telling them to go back into the government. Okay. He says the wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. Where are we at? And without your national citizenship, what did he say? Did he say sovereign citizen? No. He said with your national, he said national citizenship. This is how he describes being a state citizen. He says the wealth of all national governments or state governments, gold and silver and commerce belong to the citizens alone. That means that the citizens are the investors, the issuers, the lenders, the secured parties, the creditors, the Muslims. He says the wealth of all, gold and silver belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. This is the commerce. This is the commerce right here. This is the national citizenship here. This is the debit account. The birth certificate. This entity is the debit account. This is the creditor account. All right. To being one with the state, citizen. So all of the wealth, I've pledged all of my wealth, all of my assets, this estate Here, I'm pledging it. I'm giving it to you. This is a financial instrument. Everything, he already said, what did he say about this? What did he say about this? The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone. All right. It's a commercial transaction. Okay. He says, and I am hereby calling on all true citizens. So he's saying that he's referencing that he's speaking to all these other people who are not Moorish Americans, specifically, but who are true citizens. He said, and I am calling on all true citizens. Where we at? That stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution. So Noble Drew Ali is teaching us how to enforce the Constitution. This is not sovereign citizen bull jargon, because the soft cits don't even deal with the Constitution. They can't say that they're dealing with the Constitution if they're saying that they're a sovereign and not a part of the state. They're not saying that they're constituent members of the state. Drew Ali is telling us that we must enforce the Constitution because it's an agreement. It's a family agreement. Okay? And so again, it doesn't sound like to me that the Moorish movement is any radical, agitating, anti-government propagation, even though there are people who affiliate with this man's movement and try to enter that doctrine into his movement. But the movement in its purest form so far doesn't sound to me like any sovereign citizen rhetoric of anti-government and anti-tax. Let me continue. Or that the Moorish Americans are at any higher standard than any other people. Drew Ali keeps saying all true American citizens. He's making a statement that we're all one people. Okay. He says, the wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. So this member of society is asking other members of society to assist him in teaching his people the proper form of government. He's calling out to these other citizens. He's not even talking to his people. He's saying that there are other citizens, not that that the Moorish Americans are the only ones and that everybody's got to get the fuck out of here. Drew Ali's not, it doesn't sound like that here to me. Okay. He says, help me to save my people. So again, he's not even talking to his people. So this man's newspaper is intended to be in the hands of everybody, not just the Moorish American. This is a literal public notice. He says, now listen, help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. Help me to save my people who've fallen from the constitutional laws of the government, of the government. So he's not trying to bring in any other government. He's not trying to say that this is the United States of Morocco. He's not trying to say that America is Morocco. He's identifying America and the Union States as the government for all of these people. He's saying that we all belong Y'all stand for the free constitutional government. He said, help me to bring my people. These niggas is lost. They think they're going back to Africa. They're at home. Help me to bring them back because they have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. So it's one government he's talking about. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again. So Drew Ali's movement sounds like he's trying to bring the Moorish Americans back into the government. Doesn't sound like anything like he's trying to tell us that we got to go start our own shit. Just saying. These are his words. All that Moorish sovereign citizen stuff, it just doesn't seem like it is applicable to this man's movement according to what he's saying his movement is for. All right. He says, I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate. What does that mean? That they will learn to love instead of hate. So they're not loving. They're not giving any form of consideration. Love is consideration. Drew Ali is talking about getting you back into the constitutional fold, learning how to conduct yourself properly in contracting and giving consideration. He said that they may learn to love instead of hate, that they may learn to give consideration where consideration is due. Be yourself. Know that you are equal in standing. And know that all others are equal in standing. You're not above, you're not below the law. You're not above or below anybody. You are equal under the law. Everyone. Okay. That they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles of equity. That love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. He's saying that they will learn to live according to principle equity. Natural and principle equity. This is what he's saying. He's saying his movement is about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Equity. It's about law and equity. Okay. He says, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. One second. Justice. One second. All right, I'm back. All right. Okay. He says, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. Come on, TikTok. Might have to reset, y'all. Might have to reset, y'all. All right, that should fix the issue. There we go. All right, and we're back. So, again, So Girelli says that they will learn to they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. So Noble Drew Ali just implied that we would find these principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, in this in this constitution. Okay? This preamble speaks of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Let me read this to you. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The principles of equity are in the preamble. Okay. So let me continue. He says, I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard. Because day by day, they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. Names and principles that delude the slavery. Yep, there it is. Names and principles that delude to economic slavery, commercial slavery, human trafficking. Come on, boy. I got your message, man. All right. Black, Negro, colored, slave descent. If you say that you're the descendant of a slave, if you're identifying as a stateless person, nationless person, this is all 14th Amendment. And these are the principles behind it. So he's telling the Moorish Americans that all other people that are acknowledged as free, none of them are under this. And we're trying to get to the same point to where we're not under this. Again, I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, which, by the way, the national and divine standard that Drew Ali is talking about. Drew Ali, when he's talking about the free national standards, he's talking about Article 4, Section 4 membership or citizenship. He's not talking about 14th Amendment democracy. He's telling you about the state republics. Mind you, this is back in the 1920s that this redemption manual was presented to those who were called blacks, Negroes, and colors. So they've had the information for a long time. But anywho, he says, I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. We do know that the 14th Amendment is unconstitutional, yes? Yes, okay. Now listen to this. He says, listen, if Italians, Greeks, English, these are Europeans, if the Chinese, the Japanese, these are Asians, these are Eurasians, Turks, and Arabians, now these are Asians, are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. It sounds like he talking equality to me. And mind you, he said Italians, Greeks, and English. These are Europeans. Then he gave us Chinese, Japanese, and Turks and Arabians. This is like the Middle East going into Asia, right? Let me show you something. He said if Europeans, Middle Easterners, and if Europeans and Eurasians must proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States, then that law must apply to everybody else. Now, Drew Ali calls his Moorish Americans North Africans, right? Now, this is the SF 181 form, ethnicity and race. And when we look at the white status, it says a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Now, let me reread what he just said now, so that we can put that in perspective here. Okay? He says, if Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. Now, Noble Drew Ali is saying that, hey, these North African Moorish Americans, they got to do what all of these European and Middle Easterners do. We have to follow the same process to be white, to be identified as white. We have the status of white in the United States. North Africans have the white status. It's there. You have to act according. My free white person. My subject black person. Somewhere in the middle, the gray, the personality, the ruler. Drew Ali says, in all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asked for his national descent name, And if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principle are misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Because to be a citizen, so he's saying we're supposed to, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name. What is my national descent name? I'm a Muslim American. I'm a Pennsylvanian. I'm a Pennsylvanian American. That's my free national name. Everyone who's a Pennsylvanian is my family, and everyone who's an American is in the Union. We are all one family. Back into the constitutional fold. Right. Okay. He says, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name. Why? Because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. This is an estate issued as a private trust. I've applied for and answered up to my national standards, and now that same public trust in estate has been securitized and it is now in the private. This is the private trust. That's the debits. This is the credits. That's the charge. This is the discharging agent. That is the charging instrument. All right. Where are we at? Okay. So we're talking trust in estates here. All right. Drelly says the word Negro alludes in the Latin language to the word negare. We know what I'm saying. The same as the word colored alludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. D-Y-E-D. And every nation, every nation, a nation and a state are synonymous. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers. Mine is Pennsylvania. All right? Because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. As long as I adhere to the laws of Pennsylvania as a Pennsylvanian, and as long as I apply to the national universal union laws of the United States of America, right, I will have generational wealth. My life on the land will be lengthened, meaning that I will have descendability. I will be able to pass on the wealth to my children and my community, avoiding probate, basically. He says that these names, black, Negro, colored, and all the other names, have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Now, this is 1920s. He's saying that black, Negro, colored, and anything that came from it, Indian, African American, all of these, he says that none of these names have been recognized by any true American citizen of his day. So he's telling these people that they're not blacks, Negroes, and colors at all, because this isn't even a constitutionally recognized identity. And he's saying that during the ordaining and establishing of the Constitution, none of these names or principles were ever recognized then, and they're still not recognized to this day as being true citizens of the state. All right. Check this out. Through your national name, Pennsylvania, through your national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth. So I'm recognized by all 50 states, right? that are recognized by said national government in which they live. So every state, every nation that recognizes the U.S., whether it be the 50 states or even the United Nations, right? He's saying that through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. He says the 14th and 15th Amendments, slavery, institutional slavery, brought the North and South in unity, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. He says, and at that time, 1865, what happened in 1865? The 13th Amendment in 1865 abolishes peonage. It abolishes the practice of one group of people administrating the estates of another group of people without that other group of people having any say-so in the account. Okay? So he's talking about in 1865, when slavery was done away with, right? He says, let me read this again. He says the 14th and 15th Amendments, He says the 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unity, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional laws that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people who are learning how to be citizens and citizens who already understand how to be a citizen. So he's telling us that the 14th and 15th Amendments don't even apply. So he's saying that we're not under federal jurisdiction. There is a limited jurisdiction. Islam. Okay? So again, this doesn't sound like any sovereign citizen agitating radical movement. I'm just saying to me, right? Let's continue. He says, so there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost. So he's talking about redeeming something that has been lost. What has been lost?
So what did they lose? They lost their estates. They're redeeming their estates. They lost their state estates. State citizenship is what they lost. State citizenship is the right of claim to an estate which has been ordained and established by any one of the state constitutional governments or the republics in which you were born, so that's birthright citizenship, and or in which you live, that's naturalization. This last one would be me as a Pennsylvanian living in New York and getting an ID in New York as a New Yorker. I've been accepted into the New York state or group of people as one of the people. I've been adopted in, but my birthplace would be Pennsylvania. Okay. So he says there is but one supreme issue for my people to redeem, redemption process. That which was lost, he's redeeming estates. He's redeeming debits and exchange. He's redeeming credits, accepting for value. All right. Where are we at? He says, so there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. The lion and the lamb, the lion are the rich and the rulers, the ones who are secured in their persons. And the poor are those who are not secured in their persons. And we'll be able to live and balance the economy when we learn how to operate in the right capacity. And he says that, then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. He says, in those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. So he just said that the U.S. and the USA, they mean the same thing. They're used interchangeably. But you must know that you are the state citizen, not the stateless citizen. You must be aware that there are two artificial persons. There are two entities, one in the public and one in the private. One that is unsecured and one that is secured. One that needs to be secured and the one that secures, fulfills that obligation. He says, but if the above principles, which are the constitutional principles, are not carried out by the citizens, and my people who are learning to be citizens in this government. So again, he's not saying that the Moorish Science Temple of America is the government. He's not saying that he created a new government. Nowhere in his literature does it say that Moorish Americans have their own government separate from the USA. Just saying, some of these people say this stuff, but again, let's see where from the mouth of the one who started this movement. What is this movement about? This is what we're looking for, right? All right. He says, but if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America. So the USA, the US, and North America have all been used interchangeably in the same statement. What are we at? Okay. He says, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. by my people. That's the North Africans who are running around allowing themselves to be identified as African Americans. And that's the Europeans and the Middle Eastern Asians who are not assisting their fellow brothers and sisters in getting them to think proper.
Again, right? He says that the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people.
And this great sin is debt.
And this great sin, this great debt must be removed. It must be discharged from the land
To save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. Now, this is something that was written back in between 1921 and 1929. And he's talking about enormous earthquakes and diseases. If people aren't doing what's supposed to be done, these things would occur. Now, we can witness in this era, in this day of time, in this era of time, the earthquakes, the massive earthquakes, as well as the diseases. Yes, this is in the manual, absolutely. Okay. He says, and I, the prophet, do hear and believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws. He's telling you that he believes in it. He says, and through the help of such classes. So he's telling you there's other classes of citizens. He says, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely the ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to who? To all true American citizens to help me guess y'all ain't really tapping the screen all that tough, but regardless, whatever. All right. It says, so I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true Americans to help me to remove this great sin, which has, to remove this great sin, which has been committed and is being practiced by who? By my people in the United States of America. Because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into the utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. in their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. He says that they, meaning his people, will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. So he's saying that the actions that are being done by his people are causing the issues of that time and of this time. He's not saying that anyone outside of that people is causing the issues for those people are allowing themselves to be classified as such. They are allowing themselves to maintain ignorance. They are seeking handout. Instead of being active, they are passive. He's talking about the so-called black people are the reason why these injustices have happened to them because they allowed it to happen. They allowed it. They did not organize, come together and say, hey, we're not for that anymore. Right? I'm going to read that again. I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not a true and divine way. And without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I've traveled in the South and I've examined conditions there. And it is the works of my people, the so-called African Americans, slave descendants, continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. There's only one life to live, and it's a universal way of life. So the Moorish Americans out there talking about, oh, they done stole this, they ain't stole a motherfucking thing. You forgot that it's the only way. Islam, or principal equity, right, as trusted administration, that's universally applicable. That applies to everyone. It doesn't just apply to the Moorish Americans. Drew Ali is teaching the Moorish Americans to go to their fellow American citizens and learn those things necessary to be better citizens. Listen. He says, and I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. So this is what he's saying his organization, his movement, his redemption process is about. His status correcting principles, steps, instructions. These are the instructions that he's giving his people and seeking those who know the truth to come help him give this information to his people. Now that we've read what he said, we're going to read. I have to find it. I gotta find the actual newspaper article, because this was not a post. This was not the Moorish Guide newspaper. This was the newspaper, one of the Chicago newspapers articles that I'm about to read, that is speaking about Drew Ali's movement. Okay, this may have been the Chicago Defender. It might have been another. Not quite sure, and I will make sure to go back in time so that I can find this and know for sure what newspaper it came out of. All right. The title is Moorish Head Makes Plans for Conclave. Beginning October 15th and continuing through the entire week, the Moorish Science Temple of America, of which Mr. Drew Ali is the founder and president, will hold his first general conference at Unity Hall, 3140 Indiana Ave, Chicago, Illinois. President Ali began definite plans to this end upon his recent return from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where he spent several days lecturing at the local Moorish temple. This organization is playing a useful and definite part in advancing the sacred obligations of American citizenship. What? Indications are that this convention will be one of the most interesting ever held in the city. It will be featured by delegates attending in pilgrimages from 15 different states where local temples have been established. There will be an interesting parade in which men and women members will wear regalia similar to that worn in Eastern countries. A camel will be used. During the sessions, specific reports of the general work and civic accomplishments of local accomplishments will be made. Reports also of the business enterprises that have been established in connection with these temples. Where are they? They were here. Where are they? All right. Such as 2 grocery and market stores in Detroit, a laundry in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a moving and express business and grocery in Chicago. So the Moorish Science Temple of America had businesses. Where are they at? They were businessmen and women. Where are they at? Just saying. These examples of collective effort to show that the members of the Moorish Science Temple and their leaders have a sound economic program and are blazing the trail and marking the pathway over which our posterity may travel unhampered and unafraid. Quote, "It must be kept in mind that no great movement can take definite shape in 2 or 3 years so as to be error-proof. However, through accumulating experience, each annual convention ought to witness a more perfect and wider functioning organization representing the organized experience of men and women members throughout the country and possibly in time throughout the world," unquote, said President Drew Ali. So that's a quotable. Drew Ali was quoted as saying this. And continuing, President Ali said, "Constructive criticism for sympathetic friends in and outside of our ranks is welcome. We're looking for assistance. We're looking to be servants and friends of humanity. We're learning to share, to consider." What else to know? Would you listen? Again, my question is going to be, does this sound like anti-government rhetoric? Okay, what I'm about to read to you. Again, this is information coming from the organization itself, not from what any of these jive turkeys out here running around is telling you that's going on, but this is actually coming from the horse's mouth, so to speak. It says Moorish leader attends inauguration of governor. So that means Drew Ali is a Moorish American, and he was born a Virginian, but he was an Illinoisan at the time, right? He's saying that him as a citizen of that state attended the inauguration of a governor. So there's political connections and duties and obligations of which he is showing that Moorish American citizens are supposed to be active, right? It says Moorish leader attends inauguration of government. The Moorish Science Temple of America was represented at the inauguration of Governor Lewis L. Emerson in Springfield, Illinois, Monday, January 14th, by the Prophet, the Noble Drew Ali. It was a busy day for the distinguished Moorish leader in Springfield, beginning with breakfast aboard one of the special trains of the Illinois Central Railroad, attending the inaugural ceremonies of the State Arsenal building, and ending with interviews with many distinguished citizens of Chicago, who greeted him on every hand. The prophet expressed himself as being highly pleased with the trip and the many courtesies extended him by the military and state officials. What? He says, no, it doesn't. What? Okay. Right. So Drew Ali was in attendance with state representatives. He wasn't just hollering from the street corner on a soapbox, telling people anyway. He was active. He was rubbing elbows. He was being the change that he sought. He was changing his own conditions. And he was showing the people, hey, this is how we do it. We do it unified. We do it under the law, according to the law. Enforce the law, and the law will set you free, is what he's saying. He's definitely not teaching any of that gibberish that this is the United States of Morocco or that we are Masons, right? He's not that, none of that, or that we are the mothers and fathers of humanity. Drew Ali never told us that we were the mothers and fathers of humanity. He's saying of all of the children of all of humanity, we are the mother and fathers of civilization. We are the ones that brought order to chaos and then began to teach the rest. But we all come from the same source. Drew Ali ain't out there teaching that the Moorish Americans are the Anunnaki gods. The Moorish Divine National Movement is not teaching you about Yaqub, the big-headed scientist. That is not doctrine in this movement. This doctrine so far is showing me, right, that segregation is something that's not even looked for. And in Islam, he brought it under Islam. If you understand the concept of family in Islam, the Muslims have family, the great family, and then they have the family that they were born from. And the greater family is the family that's placed above. This is the Ummah. This is like the state. We put the state even above everyone in the home. Because everyone in the home might not be acting right. But my neighbors are my family members. We're all going to make sure that whatever happens in the best interests of the greater. All right? So now let me read to you I would like to read this, but this is so long, and I don't. Maybe in another reading. But I'm gonna read to you what Noble Drew Ali had to say about even some of his own members in the organization, and maybe after reading this, we can kind of begin to contemplate or consider the origin of all of this misinformation that has been tossed into his movement. This is called to be read, to be proclaimed at every meeting. So according to his minute, when they open up their business meeting with the stakeholders, the shareholders, and the directors and whatnot, when we open up our meeting, this must be proclaimed. It must be known. All right. He says, Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation. Did you catch that? Our group. We're a nation within a greater nation. He's saying that members of our group are jealous of him. He says, there is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics, which just means people of the state, citizens of the state, must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they're working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so that they may take charge of the situation. Jurali said, hey, this is the sole foundation. These principles, how they're applied, this is the sole foundation for one's earthly salvation as an American citizen. This is your divine and national identity here. And he's saying that there are people in the group that look like wear fez and turban and who sit in the seats of office who are jealous of him and the movement. And now that they figured out that he wasn't a joke, now they want the power. They want to usurp it now. They want to push him out the way. These are Masons he's talking about. Remember, all these Moorish Americans talk about they Masons. The Masons infiltrated the movement. I'm not a Mason. I'm a Moorish scientist. I'm a mastermind. I don't have to be a master Mason. I'm a mastermind. I am not the son of a widow because Allah is the husbandman. Just to throw that out there, sprinkled. Right. Anywho, I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement, will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. He's telling you now that I need more finance now than ever. All right, let me just interject scenario. Drew Ali was out there going around on his tours, and he was using finance from the Grand Major Temple to fund that expedition. And when he was in the South, and he sent for more finance. Pearl Drew Ali, Claude Green Bay, and James Lomax Bay all conspired to not send this man money. They're holding the money from him now, so he had to stop what he was doing and come back and tell everybody this is what's going down right now. Okay. He says, I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so that I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He said that this movement will not be noticed without him as the head. So what are these defective Muslim Moorish Americans doing? They're using his name, but they're not using his lessons. So, recap. Does the Moorish Divine and Movement, Divine and National Movement, as it has been presented by its founder, sound irrational, agitating, radical, sovereign, citizen-ish? You be the judge, right? Now that you know what the movement is founded upon, you'll be able to recognize those who are not adhering to the redemption manual or the program to redeem the lost estate the way that this guy presented it to them. Drew Ali was telling you to get right. This is what he was telling you to do to get right. He wasn't telling you to fill out authenticate any birth certificates. He wasn't telling you to identify yourself as a foreign national. He wasn't trying to tell you that you were a sovereign citizen. Right? He wasn't expressing that these particular groups of people are better than any other group of people. That's not what his movement is about. And I, as the authorized representative of that movement, I'm here to exercise that authority to dispel any misinformation that is spoken about in regards to this man and his movement, which was a gift to us to show us how to get back into the constitutional folds of government in order to be redeemed as rightful heirs of the estate, citizens. But I don't deal with the redemption manual. I deal with this manual and I pick out the information. I don't. You can have your own redemption manual. You can read that if you want to. But I don't recommend it. I don't recommend the redemption manual as it is today because, it's definitely good information to study on. I'm not saying don't listen, don't read the information, review the information. But when you review the information, you have to really sit and figure out what is applicable. I've read a few of the redemption manuals, and the principles that I'm looking for that is already inherent in my national movement, I don't find them in these redemption manuals and redemption reloaded or whatever. I see a lot of the doctrine there, but I see a lot of mixed doctrine in there too. And so I'm just going to let you know that I don't deal with the redemption manual. The information that I'm reading from is a redemption manual, and so this information here is a redemption manual. And the brother who presented this information to us, he told us that if I told you everything, you go back to sleep. So he is urging us to study up, to show ourselves approved. He's given us the half, and now we must uncover the other half. So this is not a step-by-step playbook. Do this, do that. I offer that information as well, but it's in accordance with it. This right here is study material. This is study material. It is on the website. If you go to my profile, you can find it on the website under the economic security tab of the website. security tab of the website. Alrighty, okay. So I appreciate you all for coming. I hope this has assisted you, right, in your concepts. I hope that this has exposed you to the truth of this movement. I hope that this information that you now have can secure you, right, in your application with people in general. When you hear certain information that you now know is not a part of that movement, you have every right and duty, Moorish American or otherwise, to call that motherfucker out. Call him out. I'm telling you now, right now, as I see it, no one who's operating as a grand sheik in any manner right now is lawful or in order with what this program that Drew Ali presented, except for myself. I would love to find the others who are along these lines as well, right? But I'm telling you, most welcome. I'm telling you now that I've redeemed myself. I'm just trying to show you all the way. I'm not here to save you, but I've saved myself. And the way that I've saved myself, the same steps that I've taken, that also saves a nation when all of these people come together to do it. And they come together as one. Moorish Americans are not sovereign citizens. They're not black identity extremists. They're not false cult groups, right? They're not grifters. They're not humanity haters. They're not bigots. Now, mind you, you have these types of characters within any nation of people, and the negative actions of a few should never be used to consider the position of the whole. Right? The actions of a few does not mean that these are the actions of the whole group. Right? Not all Europeans were dealing in slavery. Right? Not all African peoples were fucking kings and queens. Let's be real. Let's be real. All right, so I'm going to leave you all with this statement. I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to expose to you what the religion of the Moorish Americans is and how it's applicable. Before I do that, hold on. I got one more statement to read. Absolutely. One more. And then I'm going to put that up there. So my last reading for this lesson is entitled The Moorish Science Temple of America. It is also a newspaper article in the Moorish Guide newspaper. And this is what Noble Drew Ali, through his paper, is informing the public about his movement. Okay? So y'all can get it from here. It says, the Moorish Science Temple of America was founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Aside from the fact that it is a legally organized religious corporation, it is building on human needs. To this desirable end in time, legitimate means will be found to dispense charity and provide for the mutual assistance of its members in times of distress. to aid in the improvement of health and to encourage the ownership of better homes, to find employment for our members, to teach those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization, such as obedience to law, respect and loyalty to government, tolerance, and unity. It is most earnestly hoped that the Moorish Science Temple of America will not in any way be confused with any Back to Africa movement. Such is not important insofar as American citizens of our group colonizing Africa are concerned. We're not back to Africa. We right here. We of the Moorish Science Temple of America, like countless other American citizens, know that we must live together here in America in harmony, friendship, and goodwill, whatever our race and creed may be. It is only from a purely religious standpoint, it seems at this time, that we differ from a large number of our fellow Americans. We believe in and foster the Muslim religion. We believe in the principles of its teachings insofar that they can be adopted to American life. We feel that the Christian religion is all right for those who prefer it. In America, religious freedom is guaranteed all under the Constitution. There he goes, talking about enforcing Constitution. He says we are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from the greatest plight, economic slavery. That's 14th Amendment citizenship. We believe this can be best done by encouraging, patronizing, and establishing our own business enterprises and cultivating our own acres of land. We welcome into our folds men and women of our group of all sections, all trades, occupations, and professions of sound mind and good character. We are friends and servants of humanity. We are dedicated to the purpose of elevating the moral, social, and economic status of our people. We have set about to do this through a wide and comprehensive program, embodying the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So the Moorish Science Temple of America just told you what it's here to do. The Muslim religion, Islam, and then the doctrine, Islam. This is the religion of the Mohammedans, of the Muslims. And according to their religious faith, credit and faith, right? The principle equity. This is at the heart of the administration. This is what it's about. The Muslim faith is about dealing in principle equity. Everyone is free, pure, and clean, without debt. If you come into debt, you pay what you owe. If you're the one who is indebted, you receive only what you are owed. You don't pay less, and you don't expect more. This is being honorable. This is having integrity and character, right? This is being noble, right? Good business. That's what we're talking about. The business, remember, religion is business. It is economic business. And our principle is equity. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice are 5. All right, we'll put that. Principle equity has 5. Well, how can I say this? 5. Yeah. 5 foundational principles. So principle equity has 5 foundational principles. All right. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. The core principle is peace. It is Islam. It is equity. When man honors man, he honors Allah. When you treat man as you wish to be treated, when you hold yourself to the same standards as your fellow man, equity, integrity of character, good business. This is what the religion is about. That's what it's founded on. That's its core. County of Cork is the correct way to put what? Uh, so, Islamism is about making the right of claim to equity, of being redeemed, of being made whole, of receiving that which is due. This is due process. Being a member of the body politic, an active component in the society, being an officer. You cannot be a citizen of a state and not have the capacity to be an officer. You are an officer. You represent the people. In the affidavit you put in that way when establishing where it was filed.
Peace, and love.
Peace and love, Brother Davis L. So you're talking to me about the process that you and I are going over. So I can help you here. I wasn't quite sure what you were making reference to about the affidavit specifically.
Oh yeah. Just when you were talking about what you put down in the declaration that we
Right.
gotta send in with the application. It's just how you put it. You
Did I
said it was
give you
filed.
that?
What's that?
Okay, yeah. It was filed. It was filed as an affidavit, and it had that information with Jarali's information in it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for the people, since I got you on it, I'm going to write out uh, what I placed on my affidavit, so that people. Let me see. Muslim, my nationality. Nationality is nationality. My religion is Islamism. My religious affidavit of organization is filed at Cook County Recorder's Office, Chicago, Illinois. Form 1099, file number 10105905. My presiding officer is Noble Drew Ali. All members are required to annex religious title to surname, and all members are required to wear turban, fez, Uralis, I think it's called, uh, feather crown. Well, let's just keep it basic. Let me keep it basic. So I don't want everybody out here going to fez, turban, crescent moon and star, logo circle 7, and all things Moorish. And then I am a free national citizen of this free national republic of the United States of America. All right. And then this will be where to sign, and this will be where the date. All right. Okay. So this is, I'm gonna bring you down, big brother, just so that we can get a bigger screen.
That's totally fine. Totally fine.
All right. All right. So this is the claim that Moorish Americans make when they are declaring and proclaiming their nationality. If you're aware, most of this information I actually just spoke on. Drew saying that no one will recognize this movement without him being the head. That's the reason why I said that my presiding officer is Noble Drew Ali, because presiding officer means principal, it means the head. Right? All right, so I'm going to read this out and I'm going to go over why this is the affidavit or the statement of record that I'm charging onto the record. Okay? I am a Muslim. The word Muslim, according to the religion, means creditor. A Muslim is born free, pure, and clean, which means that he has white status, which means he has ruler of the land status, which means that him and Allah, him and God's law are one. They are inseparable. Okay. My nationality is Moorish American. Why did I say that? Moorish American refers to the North African diaspora of Islam, particularly in this instance, the Moroccans, who are not Sunni Muslims. They are in fact majority Sufi Muslims. And according to Islamic custom, Muslims place the Muslim nation. They identify first with the whole nation, and then secondary comes, their tribes, etc. And so to call myself a Moorish American is saying that I'm a Muslim American, right? But I'm also stating that I am a Pennsylvanian. Okay, the Moorish Americans are what? They're the North Africans. They're the North Africans with white status. White, North Africa, Morocco. Okay. My religion is Islamism. What is it about Islamism? I just read to you what the whole movement is under Islamism. It's status correction. It's commercial redemption. It's proper contracting. Right? Islamism is the doctrine of principal equity. Remember, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And we see that these principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice enforced it's in the preamble to the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. Freedom is liberty to ourselves and posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And so we're already seeing that Islamism is dealing with that Constitution, and that it's dealing with the principle of equity. All right, my religious affidavit. There it is. It's not supposed to be or. My religious affidavit of organization is filed at the Cook County Recorder's Office, Chicago, Illinois, Form 1099, file number 1010-905, and I'm going to show you that document. This is evidence that this is a lawfully chartered and incorporated national order. So it has all the rights and privileges, right, as any other person or entity, artificial person, doing business. And since no one has rebutted it, like truthfully, because I hear so many people talking about what it ain't, but I don't see any true rebuttal. Because the commercial status has been expressed, that's why. And no one has rebutted it, then that claim stands sovereign. It stands as truth. So no one can say that they can act like the Moorish Science Temple of America is a cult, and they can act like it's fake, but it's recognized. It has all of the rights and duties and immunities and privileges and obligations as any other religious order out here. So if you don't like it, you just don't like it. But it's been hammered into this government. It's been made a part of every part. Can't remove it. All right. Yeah. I was going to show you. Okay. This is that form. This is that form. Let me see. Let me point it out for you. If you follow my finger, you'll see the number 10105905 up there, right? Well, that's odd. Yeah, it could have fallen. That's, that was it. All right, yeah. This dude got it in his book. Here we go. I'm going to show you. This is what the copy of the back of the Quran questions, the Moorish American, of the, what was it, the Quran questions for Moorish Americans. And if you can see, I'll point it out for you. So, form number 1099, file number 10105905. It's a good question. That's a possibility. Okay, I'll get to these whenever I get off here. All right. So, absolutely. So, getting back to this. Okay. So we're making reference that we are affiliated with this organization. We derive all of our religious authority from the foundational organization that was left as a gift to the people. So no one individual can run this. If they're not in honor, they cannot run this. So your Braswell Bays, your R. Jones Bays, your Dandridge L's, your Elihu Pleasant Bays, your Rosati L's, your whoever else want to be Greek, Seal, National, American, Moorish Association, whatever, none of them. If they're not right with the people, then none of them. And you can tell them I said it. Fuck, I care. All right. Okay, so my presiding officer is Noble Ali. Then all members are required to annex religious title to surname. Why are you making reference of this? So you are declaring your nationality, your religion, and your free national name by name and principles. All right. So you're exercising your religious freedoms, right? Now, if the name doesn't seem to be the same on the application, they're going to ask you, well, did you get your name changed, or
something in that manner.
And most people I've come to real, we're almost embraced that. Most people that I've come in contact with, they're not, um, they're not fortified. They're not fortified in religious expression. Okay, and so they miss the indicator in the application of the exercising of religious freedoms. Right? They'll tell you, oh, well, the name looks different. Is this a name change? If you got a legal name change, then you got to give us a record. You have to understand. You have to be able to express. This was not a name change. The name is the same. The title has been annexed. Right? Now, for the people, when you put down all members are required to annex religious title to surnames, you should always have supporting evidence, right, in support of your claims. All right. So the House Resolution 75 in 1933, speaking about the Moorish American Society in Philadelphia and them being recognized as uh, having their surnames annexed to their names and it being recognized. That's how you let them know this is not a name change. See, my name is Brandon Eugene Davis out here, and it's Brandon Eugene Davis here. One is I'm just showing you that I have this is my religious title. I didn't change my name. Oh, sure, no problem. It's your religious right. They can't tell you that you can't be Muslim. Okay. Also, all members are required to wear turban, fez, crescent moon and star, logo, circle, 7, all things Moorish, all things Muslim, because this is a cultural identity. If I'm out in the world and I got a turban or a fez on or a kufi or a thobe or a jalabia, right? If I look a certain way, then they'll be able to identify me with a particular culture, particular nation. So on my passport, I'm fezzed up on my passport because I told them that all members are required to wear this. This is the national identity of these particular Muslims who are American citizens. Right? And then you put, I am a free national citizen of this free national republic of the United States of America. And what you are implying here, when you say of this free national republic, me, since I'm contracting with the U.S. Department of State in relation to Pennsylvania, then this free national republic means Pennsylvania. Right? And then you're going to sign and date this in front of, if you're doing it at the post office, you do it in front of the public servant who's acting in that capacity. If you actually go down to the state building, then you're going to deal with that officer. I recommend that you do it in person, in the physical, because when you do it online, you're not going to be able to give this affidavit. This is your affidavit. Drew Ali showed you. He filed an affidavit. He wasn't asking anything. He was affine to something. Nobody rebutted it, and so you're affine. You're making your statement of the record. This is your statement of account. You're telling them that you're white, that you're pure, that you're clean, that you're an American, that you're a citizen of the states, right? That you are in honor, right? This is what you're doing when you're getting your passport. And this is what you're referring to. And this is what you're referring to. Okay. This can be tailored to anyone's religious faith. If you understand the principles, you can tailor it to the way it would work best for you. This for the Moorish Americans, though. and mind you, this is not the only way. This is the way that came about. This is the way that came about due to my research and due to my understanding. If you have a better way, by all means, find a better way. I made it as simple as I could possibly understand it, so that I would be able to speak about it intelligently, right, within the information that Drew Ali has presented. I can show you, I can verify all of this in his information. But again, if you have another way, by all means, right? I'm just showing you my path to salvation. This is my example. This is what I got from listening to Noble Drew Ali and following his instructions to the best of my ability. All right. So appreciate it. So I appreciate you all for coming. TikTok is definitely cutting me up so bad on this feed. So I'm gonna go ahead. I appreciate you all. As always, I'm your brother, man, Brandon Davis Ali. Just come to show you the way to your true self. Peace and love.